Ubisoft is not doing so well right now, with new releases already hitting the bargain bin and upcoming releases like Assassin's Creed Shadows receiving a ton of backlash for its historical inaccuracies. And then you've got Star Wars Outlaws that's getting backlash for just plain looking terrible. So let's go ahead and dive into this video and talk about what's going on here and what I think Ubisoft needs to do to actually improve morale and everything, this giant trash fire, essentially. So right now, this comes to us from That Park Place. Ubisoft's Avatar Frontiers of Pandora price reduced 50% less than 2 months after arriving on Steam. That is huge. 50% 2 months after arriving on Steam. We already know, too, that Ubisoft titles being ported to PC don't go well, typically. But also, Ubisoft Skull and Bones went on sale for $10 at Best Buy after CEO described game as a quadruple A and attempted to justify a $70 price tag. So clearly they had a lot of hope for this Skull and Bones game, and when it actually dropped, I didn't even realize it because nobody really was making waves about it. Now, this is a shame to see because Ubisoft is a game development company, used to be one of my favorites. I've even worked with Ubisoft before, doing back when they had their Fractals team, which was essentially like brand promo, going to conventions, training and at competitive games, so on and so forth. Before influencers existed, essentially, they made their own in-house versions of them. So yeah, I used to adore Ubisoft. They made some of my favorite games ever. Look at the Splinter Cell series, especially the first 3 games. Love, love, love those games. Even with the different titles like Beyond Good and Evil, really good, really creative, really unique. And then, of course, you have like Rainbow Six Vegas, you've got your Ghost Recon, all of that. They used to have these solid titles. People took Ubisoft very seriously, but then everything just started to crash and burn after they started mimicking a lot more of the Assassin's Creed style into their other titles. Granted, I love Assassin's Creed, some Assassin's Creed games, not all of them, but I do love Assassin's Creed. I liked the first one a lot, love the second one. Even in fairly recent past, Odyssey was pretty good, but I feel like what Ubisoft has been focusing on is a lot of the same. Oh, and Far Cry. Every time I mention all these things, people are like, don't forget Far Cry. Far Cry was great, which I'm not as huge of a Far Cry fan as a lot of people are, but I get it. I did like Far Cry 5, which I know that one's a little more not necessarily people's favorites, but for me, I really liked it. I think that Far Cry 6 was so irritating, I couldn't finish it. I started it and I was so annoyed with the constant jabbering on the headset that I felt like you have this beautiful world that you can explore and wreak havoc in, but you completely lose all immersion when you've got annoying characters just jabbering on the headset nonstop. It's like, shut up. Do they not make games for introverts anymore? What happened with all of that? Because I tune out so bad. Even games like Uncharted, it gets on my nerves that there's constant talking, constant dialogue, and they even incorporated with the new Tomb Raider games not even new. They started this back in 2006 with Tomb Raider Legend. Let's give her a headset and have companions talking to her all the time. I don't get that, especially with games that you're going to be doing some exploring. I don't want to hear people chatting in my ear nonstop. I want to take in the nature or the havoc that I'm just wreaking on everything, whatever it may be. So that's annoying. Also, Ubisoft has gone woke in a lot of different ways. And we've seen that. We've seen that with their characters. We've seen that with a lot of the stuff that they've made. So, unfortunately, and I don't enjoy celebrating when companies, especially ones that I really liked, are failing. I don't enjoy that. And you've got like this recent thing that going around right now about, oh, why are gamers celebrating when games fail? What's up with that? It's not that we want games to fail. It's that we have these game developers and these community managers who hire based off of, they're hired because of DEI hire essentially. And all of the queers that have hijacked the industry, let's be real, they hate gamers because they're not actually real gamers. They managed to get in the industry because the gaming industry became popular and profitable, which now a lot of games are really losing a bunch of money because the budgets have been so inflated and because of all of the identity politics, all the woke stuff that they're incorporating, all the queer stuff, and quite frankly, a lot of gameplay suffering because good gameplay isn't the focus anymore for video games, for modern AAA Western video games. There's always going to be some outliers, but lately the biggest focus is story, cinematics, and ship this character, ship that character, let's add this gay stuff, let's do this race swap, this, that, or the other, which seems to take precedent over actual compelling gameplay or babying down gameplay for modern audiences so everyone can play. When you make something for everyone, then you're really making it for no one. And so that is one reason why we have seen all of this happen. But then you have these queers who have hijacked the industry. They're not actual gamers and they're partially responsible for all of this as well because they walked into something they didn't like and then they wanted to make it into something that they do like. Therefore, those of us who liked what existed before aren't happy now. So it's not that we want games to fail. We want games to focus on being video games again and to be fun and to be experiences where the gameplay is actually enjoyable and we're not being constantly harassed with all of this ideology, this satanic woke ideology, just constantly being thrown in our faces and, oh, gamers are terrible people. Oh, this, oh, don't be a bad person, this and that, based on their own morality that they're pulling out of their beeholes. Okay? It's like, dude, I just want to play a video game. And so with Ubisoft, do I want to celebrate that they're doing bad right now, that they're dropping these games to $10 in the bargain bin, that they had ambitions for being quadruple A titles? No, I don't like to see that. But we need to see changes with these Western studios. And Ubisoft specifically, man, they had such a good portfolio. They had such a good track record with their past titles. So can we get the focus on that again? Can they start, purging and rehiring, shifting things around and rehiring actual gamers who are in this for the gaming, no DEI checklist of, well, we need this many women, we need this many queer people, we need this many black people. Just hire people based on their ability, please, and what they want for video games that doesn't involve adding their own personal biases, their own personal politics, their own personal ideologies. Gaming isn't supposed to be about that. What do we see every day constantly on the news, on social media? This, that, and the other. Politics, ideologies, this, that, activists. You get sick of it after a while. Just over the past week, I've spent a lot less time on social media and have spent more time playing Story of Season Pioneers of Olive Town. If you don't know what that is, it's a Harvest Moon game. There's a big confusion there with between the Story of Seasons and Harvest Moon titles because of Natsumi suing and all that. But Story of Seasons is original Harvest Moon. Current Harvest Moon is something else, and it's worse. So Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town, where I have a farm, I'm making butter, I'm taking care of my cows and chickens and mining and all this stuff. Flirting with the dude in town, things like that. I'm having a blast with, and by that I mean no degeneracy, no none of these sex mini games, like no crap like that, just pure wholesome fun game. And it's like, oh wait, this is nice, like yeah, I'm missing something's going on with politics and that. Oh, this happened, I didn't know that, I find out later. But it's like, wow, my actual spirits have been lifted. I have felt just so, this has been a good past week. It's like, wow, I feel much more refreshed. I'm having fun. And so whenever we have our escapes, like games like this, we don't want a bunch of identity politics. We don't want a bunch of ideologies or anything like that thrown in our faces. I don't want to be playing a farming game and have pride flags all over the city celebrating degeneracy. Now, I will say, so the newer Story of Seasons games did add where, oh, you can romance anyone now, where used to it was only the opposite gender. So I do think that's degenerate. But regardless, it's not thrown in your face. It's just a feature that exists that some people can do if they want. And that's not nearly as egregious as what we're seeing with a lot of these games. So anyway, yeah. So this is where we're at. We don't want to see games fail, but we also have that I told you so moment of, maybe if you weren't making your games woke, maybe if you weren't telling your audiences that they are bigots, you know, maybe if you actually try to make games for gamers instead of for these queer activists, you can actually get somewhere. Maybe, novel concept. But anyway, there you have it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want me to read the Bible to you, you can catch my Bible channel at Bible Time with Melanie Mack. Thank you all again. I'll catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom.